This episode is brought to you by our Patron supporters. Today's patron of the day is Carly. Patrons get the show always ad-free and access to the extended episode with bonus content. If you don't want to miss all of that, go to patreon.com/calltheline. That's patreon.com/calltheline.
Who is the patron of the day?
Carly.
Hi, Carly. Yeah, we usually just do first names since the sort of nature of what we do. There are people who don't necessarily want their full names sent out there. So we usually do that. I don't know if you saw, I think William was trying to get to be a second time. He wanted to be patron of the day second time because he was a patron day last time. And then his response was, but which William? And it's like, well, how many Williams were in the comments?
There are a few. I did respond, and he said, William who? And I said, William you.
There were a few Williams in the comments last time. There was more than just the one.
Yeah, I think there was like two.
Are you sure?
I swear, there's another William. I just saw.
I'm being gaslit again. I'll tell you all about it again right after this intro.
William with a B.
Oh, maybe we should be doing initials then.
Maybe. Should we start doing that? Should I get Carly's initial?
Yeah, what's Carly? Just in case there's another Carly. Give us a Carly. Carly RJ. And people are going to be like, oh my God, is Carly Rae Jepsen listening to the podcast?
Okay, funny enough, it is Carly J.
Oh.
Guys, Carly Rae Jepsen listens to our podcast.
And she endorses it. This is a commercial endorsement officially and not satire. Let's run the intro.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Oh, my God. It is the 28th of July, which, by the way, how dare you? Think about that. The 28th of July, where the fuck did the year go? And yet it also feels like how long ago January feels like yesterday. Like, it's 2025. But at the same time, how long Donald Trump has been president feels like decades. It's the weirdest. Time has taken on no meaning.
Yeah, time is feeling especially bendy recently. Oh, excuse me. That's gross.
It's getting pretzeled.
It is. And I can't believe we're like at the end of the summer, although I really don't like summer and I'm really excited for the fall. So in a way, kind of pleased. Good. Yeah. How's it going?
When's the last time you were in VR? Oh, we've talked about this. We have to get you one so you can come and do like little debate VR things with us.
Yeah, I've never really done any VR stuff.
Ever?
I've played like with a VR like thing literally one time at Lance's house. And then I never really did it ever again.
I don't know who Lance is. And I don't think the audience knows who Lance is. So that was a very much. Wait, the Lance Bass's house?
Yeah. Wait, do you not know?
I do. I understand your connection there and I get it now. But I do feel a little bit like, in a way, you were name dropping, but not directly, so that you would be asked for clarification.
No. I wouldn't have name dropped because I think I don't have that many. I don't know anyone else whose name is Lance. And I feel like that's enough of a weird person and a weird name that if I say to you, I just kind of assumed that if I say Lance, it's like obvious that that's what I'm talking about. But also, I feel like it's good context because no one, like, VR sets are expensive. And, like, so the only time I've ever used one was at the house of someone who used to be in a pop band.
Ooh-wee. Not that one,
Boy band.
Sorry. I'm just messing with everybody's mind. All right, well, your headset will be there in the morning, so you can try it.
Wait, in real life?
Yeah, I'm sending you a Quest 3S.
What?
We talked about this forever ago because we got one for Promise as well because we want to do like debate things in VR. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I decided to go in there last night and goodness sakes, things are not getting better. I will say for the most part, there were a number of people in there who were like, oh, I was MAGA until like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. And before, when you would go in there, it was all wall to wall just being called, slurs and things like that. And like, oh, you're some liberal idiot, which always annoys me because I'm not a liberal. But there's definitely like a tone shift to the point where like you can tell there are some in there that are still ride or die, but because it seems like most of the people in there in the Republican rooms will be like, no, that Epstein stuff lost me. Screw them. And so I took a shot at trying to radicalize some people to leftism, but I doubt it took hold. The amount of anger I have right now towards somebody like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, because I'm not joking. All I got was either whataboutism or total straw manning, like complete straw manning. So there was a person who, and what's funny is I ended up debating this person, and by the end of it, this room of like 15 people, I probably had 12 of them who were otherwise Republicans and conservatives on my side going like, no, you're definitely misrepresenting him, and the point that he is making is actually correct. But this guy was like, no, his ego's just hurt and he won't admit and concede. And he's like, sometimes you can't, when your ego's hurt, you just refuse to concede, as the entire room has sat back and gone like, dude, you're wrong on this. Because the guy, the argument was about bad cops, basically. And the whole, he was trying to make the like, it's a few bad apples argument. I assume you've heard it.
Yes,
and I pointed out, that's not the phrase. It's a few bad apples spoils the barrel, or a few bad apples spoils the bunch.
Right.
And so what I pointed out to him
really
was
funny,
like,
actually.
So the problem with the police force isn't that every single individual who is a cop isn't probably a mostly good person themselves, isn't there hopefully trying to be a good cop. It's that they are also participating in an overall corrupt system that protects the bad cops. So if a few bad apples are there, but even the good cops are covering for the bad because they're afraid of being called a rat, they want to exist in the current system, they worry they won't be able to go, move up, whatever the reason is, if the system is there and they're participating in the system that protects those bad cops, they're bad cops too. And I used this metaphor of, look at the Catholic Church. And this guy already, I think at some point I double confirmed, are you a Catholic? Because it seems like you're taking this very personally. I was like, think about the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, we found out, had a systemic issue with pedophile priests. And they weren't they weren't reporting these priests to the police. They were doing everything internally and usually just moving these pedophiles around with parishes. And there's now been hundreds of these individuals. And so he starts trying to jump in. He's like, oh, so you're saying the entire Catholic community is bad. Every Catholic is bad. And he keeps trying to take it to that. I was like, no, the system of Catholicism. If we're going to talk about Catholicism being bad, generally, I'll have that discussion separate, but that's not the point I was making. And I also wouldn't legislate against being a Catholic, but I would legislate against being a pedophile protector. Donald Trump wouldn't. He just overturned the mandatory reporting law. So now religious abuse can be covered up more easily. MAGA. Anyway, how's that going? MAGA, yay, priests will be covered. And so and he's like, but out of how many priests? And it was like thousands, hundreds of priests did 1,000. And he did a few things. One, he was like, okay, fine. If it's supposedly hundreds and you so much, name one. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Whether or not I went through and learned the individual names of any of them. And then after a minute, I realized, oh, wait, Cardinal Pell was accused of it. There you go. There's always, oh, so you just Googled it. But, when I asked you to name two or three, and I was like, excuse me, you asked me for one. Why are you now changing it? If your point is so good, why are you lying? Why are you relying on a hyperbole? And there was another, and then at one point I was like, okay, name 5 Nazis. Because if you don't, the Nazi thing didn't happen.
Right.
There were no. Name 5 Nazis. Otherwise, no, there were no. Like, you fucking idiot. Then clearly this didn't happen. It's just like, dude. And so then as new people would come in, he would keep repeating, like, he's trying to say the entire Catholic Church are pedophiles and that they're all bad because of these pedophile. And he couldn't even name one. And it was funny because I didn't have to keep doing my own work for me, because at a certain point, the other people who were there were like, yeah, look, I'm actually usually on this guy's side, but he's wrong. That's not what this guy has said and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
well, and also I think I think even like people who are Catholic can understand that like repealing a law that would require people to report abuse is bad. Like that is bad. And that is a bad thing to do. And the literal only purpose of doing that is to hide predators. And why would you want to hide predators? It's like, that's like, this is very clear to me. Like, this is very black and white and clear. And
Occam's razor that shit.
Right. Like, it's like, what are we doing that's, I don't know.
But this started like as a police discussion. And it's funny because I was actually surprised how much the MAGA folk in there also agree that the police are kind of tyrannical in the country because they're like, well, I support the police, but I don't support when this or that. And I'm like, okay, but if the police have a system that protects the cops that do this or that, then why support the police? Why not support reforming and changing the very way it works? Why do we need the military essentially dispatched to a call where somebody was threatening to commit suicide, or a call where there was a, even just an argument, there was a heated dispute, but no violence? Why are we sending people in like military gear, armed to the teeth, where their presence immediately feels like an escalation? Why are we never sending social workers on these calls? Why are the people calling the shot? And this all started because someone put a video up in this app. It's called Big Screen. And whoever the host is, who was actually the guy I was arguing, they can put videos on the screen either from their own computer or you can watch movies together. It's a cool app. Anyway, they'd put the video up of William McNeil Jr. I don't know if you've seen this story in Florida where the police officers pulled this guy over, and they pull him over because he's not where his headlights aren't on in inclement weather. But the inclement weather was like cloudy weather, full broad daylight. It's like, come on, everyone here. I didn't even say what it was. I said at a certain point, I was like, everyone here knows why he actually got pulled over, because everyone here knows that you wouldn't have been pulled over for your headlights being off in this weather. Addressing the fact that at that point, the entire room was white guys.
Sorry, continue. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good. And they basically agreed, and everyone in there agreed that even if it was like, well, he wasn't participating, if they give you a command. And look, one of the things they said is right. In that scenario, you are better off following the command that they are abusing, because while in the end, William is probably going to get paid for this, like getting punched in the face twice by this officer while not being remotely violent, and yet getting punched in that they break the window
through the glass.
Guy punches him in the face and then starts unbuckling his stuff and like trying to drag him out. And then when they have him and they're restraining him and taking him down to the ground, before they take him down to the ground, he punches him in the face again. This guy who looks like he was excited to do, I mean, like you can kind of, the dude thinks that all of the jokes people have made about him being a ginger, he can get a little bit of revenge on this one guy right now. You can kind of like see it. I feel like if you lined up all the officers before the stop and you're like, which one of that? And before they even finish the question, you're like, that guy's going to punch whoever you guys are pulling over. That guy right there. Look at him. He's going to punch him.
I also like, regardless of your opinion of the police, that is another moment where it is cut and fucking dry to me.
Yes.
The way to handle a person who is saying, I don't need to get out of the car, I know my rights, is not to break their window and punch them in the fucking head.
Yep.
Like, that's not the proportionate response.
And the guy had already requested a supervisor, clearly in response to how much this officer was escalating, getting crazy about it, getting angry. And it's literally like, if he's just sitting there peacefully, I don't know whether Florida requires them to get a supervisor or not, but he hadn't escalated. In fact, if anything, the civilian was the one attempting to de-escalate compared to the way the cops were being. So if anything, they should have waited and just done it. Like, why not? What is your quota coming up? Are you in a rush? Fucking, if you get him the supervisor and you actually have a legal reason to remove him from the vehicle at that point, which headlights, or even people then saying, and there was also an expired tag, which I'm not sure has turned out to be true. But even if it has, those are both penalties. They are code violations worthy of fines, not worthy of dragging a person out of their car and beating them. right? And apparently, you know, people are like, well, technically, if an officer can articulate a reasonable amount of need to get you out of the car for the officer's safety, like they're on a busy highway or whatever else, and it's reasonable for them, they can actually ask you out of your car for any reason. But I don't know how you call this reason that it was not safe enough for them to stand there, even though they could have also gone to the other side of the car and talked to the passenger window instead. Instead, he was like, but it is safe enough for them to basically shut down the street and be having a brawl out in the street. Not so much a brawl because that implies two-way. It's more like six guys on one. But it would have been the point of he should have just followed the commands at a certain point is unfortunately true, because Williams honestly, yes, he's going to get paid, and that's going to be like kind of, he might get a little rich off of this. I hope he does anyway, because it's Florida. Who the fuck knows? But he's also kind of lucky he didn't get fucking murdered for it, because the police will fucking murder you depending. Like that is if you are non-compliant. Like
yeah.
Well,
that was the other thing that was confusing to me is why are there if what you're pulling this person over for truly is not having their headlights on in cloudy weather, why are there 6 police officers there?
Right.
Why do you have that number of people? Are you not fucking busy doing something else?
Yep.
What?
Yep. They also, people have been claiming that he didn't have his seatbelt on, but every video I've seen, he had his seatbelt on. His video, on the cops' video, he did have his seatbelt on, and they had to drag him out. But again, civil, like that's a civil violation. That's not a criminal offense.
Honestly, even if it is a criminal offense, police need to be better at their jobs such that they are not punching someone in the head.
Yeah.
I cannot, there are very, very few situations where I would imagine that is necessary.
Yep.
You did not need to punch someone in the head.
Yep. And as he's saying, like, the guy was like, all right, go for it and break it. It was like, the dude was still being quiet. He was still being calm. He was still requesting a supervisor. And they're basically just like, nah, fuck this. We're going to smash it.
I'm glad he took that video, because it's a perfect example that even if you are calm, even if you are being very chill about it, and you, oh my God, my ear's ringing in such a weird way all of a sudden. Even if you're being very chill, you're being very calm, and you're just asking for a supervisor, you're saying, I know my rights. I would like to see a supervisor, please. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So even for the people who are saying, well, he should have complied, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
I don't think.
And of course,
because he was doing as close as he could to complying without fully complying. And he still got punched in the head several times, and the glass of his fucking window broken.
On a scale of 0 to 2, how many of the punches do you think that the arresting officer reported?
0.
Yeah, it was 0.
Of course.
0. You win nothing. You win another day in this capitalist hellscape. Well done.
Right.
This is America.
Wait, okay,
you want a trophy?
I actually have something really exciting to report. It's like a personal exciting thing, but I think it's exciting to share in general. Okay, so my dad, who is wonderful, lovely, but like not really into politics, and also I have confirmed didn't vote for Trump. However,
excellent.
He's been a lifelong Republican. This is like, I feel like we've seen this movie before. A lot of people are having this experience. Lifelong Republican, like sometimes a little bootlicky vibes, because he's like really into capitalism in a way where I'm like, you obviously, it's out of ignorance. It's out of ignorance, and it's out of like some brainwashing vibes. However, this morning we had a conversation about, it was like a personal experience with someone who's a tenant of a family member. Whatever. She's running some sort of weird scam situation where we're getting like a lot of weird mail about insurance to one of my family members' houses. So we're like, something's not right. It's like a lot of different names. We can tell, I don't know, whatever. Something is off. And he was kind of like frustrated. He's like, it's frustrating that there are so many loopholes for people to do this stuff with. And I was like, absolutely. And you want to know what's a frustrating loophole? Jeff Bezos having a $54 million wedding, and him being able to have a $54 million wedding every single year for the rest of his life, and would still have more money than he would ever be able to spend in his lifetime. And I was like, so I'm feeling like the disparity
and all of his
between-
descendants, for the record,
and all of his descendants.
His entire family forever is set.
Yes. And I was like, but you understand why a person who is running some sort of scam for people who truly are probably just trying to keep a roof over their head and feed their kids, I have a lot more sympathy for than someone like that who is legally scamming us within the system. That's crazy. Anyway, so the exciting thing is I've had conversations with him like this in the past where he's been sort of like dismissive about it because I think it's uncomfortable for him to be like, I think you're right. This morning, he actually was kind of like, I think both, he was sort of like, both sides need to be fixed. And I was like, sure.
Which
if that's
I
what I
love
could get
that
out of
because
you.
there isn't to both sides. There's one side, the Republicans and the Democrats are both on it. They're dog shit garbage people.
Right.
One is slightly less like you either got shit in your mouth or shit on your face,
Right.
And we need to stop. We need to go with some parties. If we're going to have parties, a different party that isn't shitting on anybody. All right, let's take a break there. But when we get back in, I actually do want to talk about one more thing that happened in VR and what their responses were. When I tell you, and we'll talk about other news, but the unhinged responses I was having debating these MAGA people about people, how much, if a maximum wage should exist, if there's a maximum amount of money, it was actually, it's hard to catch me by surprise. And yet I was caught by surprise at the extremity of their beliefs. So
I can't wait.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the question that everything boiled down to in the end was, would you trade Babe Ruth never being famous for everyone, millions of people having health care and not dying from not having enough health care? And the answer to that question I thought was going to be easy for them. Holy crap. It kind of was easy for them, but they answered badly. We'll be right back.
Shut up.
This episode is brought to you by the amazing people on patreon.com/calltheline, where you can get the show ad-free and you get the extended episodes where we do bonus shows, which is most of the time. Head over to patreon.com/calltheline and sign up today. Would you like to be one of the cool people who can
Jimmy, what the fuck?
It's bad. So at the break, here's the deal. I'm having these discussions, these debates with people in VR last night. And mostly because I can't sleep. My sleep schedule's gotten really bad. Debating late probably isn't helping any, but my sleep schedule's getting all fucked up again. I didn't think I fell asleep till like 6 or 7 a.m. this morning.
Oh my God.
I know, it was bad. My brain just does this from time to time. I actually think the seasons have something to do with it. I think that I'm having like headaches from allergies. Oh, there's all kinds of shit going on. Anyway, this isn't the important part. I'm having these debates, and when they finally figure out I'm a socialist, a lot of these people who are on my side on the one, they're like, "Oh, but socialism's never worked anywhere," which isn't true. And I pointed out, like, right, where did capitalism work? Because it's not America. For capitalism to have worked, there wouldn't be such income inequality. So what the fuck are you talking about? Has worked anyway. So we're talking about all this stuff, and they're like, people should be allowed to be billionaires. Like, definitely not. Definitely not. And I did my normal spiel of don't think of it as money, think of it as security. There's a set amount of security out there that we all have to share. And there's a small group of people saying we get almost all of it and you all can fight over the little bit of security that's left. Security in the form of being homed, security in the form of food, security in like the things that we need to. And it's nice to have a little bit extra to where you can definitely like go out and live some enjoyable bits of your life. But security is at the core. And there are people who, like, you know, right now, if I physically could travel, well, I can't really because of health, but I have the resources. I could go and probably take a vacation or something.
Right.
And even that can make a person like me feel guilty because I'm like, there are people who can't afford to, like, you know, drive their car to the other side of town because they are budgeting their gas that hard if they have a car in the first place, or because, you know, bus fare or whatever else. And so there's clearly ginormous inequality, and the amount of inequality when you are a billionaire, the fact that I can feel guilty recognizing my position against poor people when that is nothing compared to what these people are hoarding is truly like immoral. It's disgusting. And so this is where these people who understood that the other guy was straw manning me also started straw manning. So like, okay, what would you make the maximum wage? And I said, I don't know what the exact dollar amount would be, but I'm very comfortable arguing at $100 million is too much. You shouldn't be able to make more than $100 million, but the real number is probably somewhere less than that. But that's where I can comfortably say. And like 9 or 10 times, they're like, well, you said $100 million is the number. And I was like, nope. What I said was that's where I'm comfortable, and the number would be something else. And I'm not the king. I wouldn't choose the number. And they would just keep going back. No, you said that exact number, which wasn't even an important part of it. So it's like, I'll defend at that. But again, once again, stating, anyway, and it's like, oh, okay. So like if so-and-so, this baseball player you mentioned, he gets $600 million. What would you do to it? I said, I would tax him 100% past the 100 million. I would take the full $500 million and make him live off a measly $100 million. Oh no. What's he going to do? How is he going to have a good time? And
could you imagine being able, like, could you imagine the deficit, even if it went to our deficit,
yeah,
it would make a huge impact if we had 100. Anyway, sorry.
But
continue.
I'd care way more about redistributing wealth
100%.
than I would the deficit. I would be like, let's give people healthcare,
100%.
housing, food, all that sort of
Yes.
stuff. And so, but then they start making this argument, and this is where it gets ridiculous, where it's like, wait, what? We're talking about we would do this to make sure that everyone's taken care of, especially in the next 20 years, most people are losing their jobs, right? Everybody's going to get replaced by AI. And what's funny is one of the guys was like, not 20, 5. And I was like, wait, so you recognize this economic crisis coming, but you think it's going to be even sooner, but you would like to continue with your argument that, and I'm not kidding, he was like, well, when he makes that $100 million and now he's not allowed to make any more, why would he continue working? And it's like, first of all, we already know that that's not how it works. People tend to like to work on the jobs they want to do. And if their money is taken care of, they don't think much about it. As long as you are comfortable and healthy and whatever, the idea would be to do it for like the glory of it, to be the best.
Right.
And then, but they kept like, no, he wouldn't work anymore. He wouldn't even be a bit. And I was like, look, here's the deal. If he decides not to work anymore because all he wanted was his 100 million and then to get out, but everybody has health care, okay, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And that was unacceptable to them. They're like, no, what? So you're saying you wouldn't have Babe Ruth, which I pointed out, Babe Ruth never made $100 million. Babe Ruth, adjusted for inflation, made about $1 million over his career. Right?
Wow.
So like, so first of all, and I'm like, and by the way, you know, if that's what we're working with, don't offer him $600 million. Offer him $5 million per season. If again, that's what we're saying is fucking reasonable in the first place. These entertainers where it's like, and they get caught up on like, he earned that. And I put it out, nobody earns. It is impossible to earn $100 million. You cannot, nobody as an individual, you can accrue $100 million, but not a person in this world has earned $100 million. Even the people where you're like, yo, whoever did the greatest thing ever, you know, fucking Alan Turing, the father of modern computing, and cracks the Nazi code, and without him, you know, World War II, who knows where it would have gone. $10 million is probably a good enough reward for him, right? Well, like you can't
I'm
earn
not
$100 million.
Yeah, what I'm not understanding is people who will probably never make $1 million in their lifetime are hell bent on defending the rights of people making more money than they will ever be able to spend.
They can't even conceive the number. That's part of the problem. We physically can't conceive those large quantities in our mind, like what that truly even means.
Right. And that's why it's important that like when people throw out these things like Jeff Bezos could have a $54 million or $53 million wedding, I thought it was like every day for the rest of his life and it wouldn't affect like his like bottom line. I don't. Really.
Yeah, his wealth is obscene.
It's obscene. It is obscene. And also, when I was having this conversation this morning, I said, "You understand, Jeff Bezos is actually a perfect example because this is a company that he built." Oh my God, my dogs are being really cute right now. Sorry. This is a company that he built. And he built it like I understand as a bookstore from a garage. Like he built it. I understand. So you know. I understand the impulse to say, like, well, if he created this, then like this is what he created.
But also, how long does he built it?
How long does that
apply?
Right.
How long is he packing the boxes? How long is he taking the orders? Is he building the website? Because at a certain point, he didn't build fucking shit. You can say he had an original concept, and Ben Shapiro, well, he bought the machinery and took the risk. Great. But casinos don't give you an unlimited, there's not an unlimited package where it's like, if you hit the goal on this, you get all of our profits forever. They have a limited number, right? You win lotteries, you have a limited number. You don't get an unlimited, and even, some lotteries pay out too much. Though the funny thing about lottery winners, they do tend to be poor again, but at least they spend their money and put it back in the economy.
Into the economy. Well, so part of this was also, and I'm so glad that I brought up Jeff Bezos, because I also was like, I would like to also draw your attention to how Amazon consistently underpays their employees. Like, they don't pay them enough. They don't give them enough breaks in a day. Like, we hear about workplace violations constantly. So we have this person who is obscenely wealthy, who does not pay his fair share in taxes and is not trickling down his wealth. This is exactly what we've been talking about. This is he's a perfect example, because while we can all understand he started Amazon, it's his business to some degree, like he gets credit for like that. There's a line where this is no longer ethical and this doesn't make sense. And so I was trying to communicate, and it seemed like it kind of got through, which is a fucking miracle. I was trying to communicate, you can understand how we are looking at a perfect example of trickle down economics not working, like it never has.
Yeah, never. Not once has it.
Not once. And we're watching it in real time, live before our eyes, what this looks like in practice. So save me the whole spiel about how
save their money.
Save me the whole fucking thing about how, well, she had this place that, she could have been locked in at a lower price and she could have gotten a less expensive car and blah, blah, blah. You're asking a person who's making if we're lucky, $40,000 a year to pinch every fucking penny she has to be able to afford a house and food for her children. But this guy can fuck off with billions of dollars?
MAGA doesn't believe that person exists, because this is what happened when we had the discussion. I was like, okay, wait, let me put it to you. If, let's say you could hit a button, and if you hit the button, Babe Ruth no longer is famous in our history, but people didn't die from not having adequate health care and everyone was taken care of. Would you make that trade? And they're like, no. And one of the dudes was like, maybe they should just get a job and get the health care. And it was literally like, are you fucking crazy? Most of the people have jobs. They don't have health care, you fucking moron.
I can't take it.
Heartless douche. Of course I would trade the fame of Babe Ruth. But here's the thing, $100 million, when I say people can't conceive of this, most people have never made $250,000 in a year, right? Mm-hmm. If you have $100 million in the bank, $250,000 is just how much on a conservative 3% return you make in a year on the interest, right? That's
crazy.
Sorry. In a month. So what most people have never made in a year, $250,000. Most people don't break $100,000, but $250,000. If you have $100 million in the bank, and remember, Jeff Bezos has billions, and they aren't all in banks accruing interest. Most of them are investments getting more than 3%, right? Way more, whether that's their stock, whether it's what, getting much more than 3%. So you just conservatively say 3%, $250,000 a month. Listen, people, if you're listening and you're like, oh, well, that, you probably still don't conceptualize what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is you listening right now probably have never made, most people listening to this ever, right, and most Americans will have never made $8,000 in a single month, except for maybe like once or twice in their life when something special happens. Maybe they sold something big or whatever. But from your job, you probably have never made $8,000 in a single month. But if you have $100 million in the bank and a conservative 3% return, you are getting $8,333 every day for free, for the money just existing. These people, and mind you, most rich people, born rich. So even their example of the like, oh, but he earned it. Most people, quote unquote, earned their millions and their billions by being born with millions and billions. And so if I was born with $100 million, I literally don't have to spend $100 million ever, because I will get that interest and I will be making millions of dollars a year in interest. And I could live off of that. I could still live a rich bougie lifestyle off of the conservative 3% interest. This is where it's like, you people have no idea how much money this actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's just sickening.
Yep. With $100 million, I only make $3 million a year if I don't touch the $100 million. What will you do? Did you ever see that clip on Stephen Colbert? I've probably brought this up before, but he's interviewing Bill Gates, who looks like probably on the Epstein list. But anyway, he's interviewing Bill Gates. I don't know if you know. It's not looking good, buddy.
Not looking good for him. Not looking good for him.
Yeah. That's what you got divorced over. It makes it look worse.
I'm like, who's also...
Melania hasn't even left Trump over. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But also, like, Bill Clinton being on the Epstein list is like pork founding kitchen. Like, okay.
Literally, when I brought up the Epstein list, there were people who were like, well, Bill Clinton. I'm like, yeah, send him too.
Right, send him too. I'm not surprised.
To prison.
You think I'm riding for Bill Clinton?
We have no as soon as the evidence is established that was a client, that was some of the people that they were procuring. I'm not saying send him just because he rode on the plane or whatever.
Of course.
He probably had knowledge of things. It seems like it wasn't that big of a secret. So there should be some penalty, if not prison, for those things. But the dude did, if the dudes did the deeds, fucking put them in prison is the nicest way, I would say, treat pedophiles. It's a good thing I'm not in charge of what happens to pedophiles, because my political stance on a lot of things would be challenged by my personal feelings, right? Yeah. I oppose the death penalty from a from a political stance. Yeah. On a personal level, here's the list of people I would personally kill. Okay, so... Yeah. Did you see there was Bill Gates was on Stephen Colbert a long time back, R.I.P. Colbert, Colbert Show, R.I.P. the late show. Donald Trump
he's alive.
Canceled. Anyway, he's alive. Bill Gates is talking about like tax rates. He's like, well, yeah, you could tax us more, but there has to be a limit. I mean, like, if you took 99% of my wealth, you wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to do much with that. And Stephen like kind of interrupts him as he says that if you take 99% of my, Stephen interrupts, he's like, you'd still have $3 billion. My condolences. Like, that's the fucking like,
that's amazing.
Definitely tax it. And so that's why I said, yes, take 100% past $100 million. Nobody needs to be able to personally, and all you have to do to avoid it, if your company takes in billions of dollars, all you have to do to avoid it is redistribute it in some way. Yeah. Hire more people, expand more. You have a limited amount of time. The money has to end up with the workers, with the laborers. They can own a piece of the company. You can increase their wealth. You can make the overall value of the company higher because you're returning the value, instead of this whole stupid system where like, well, everything's traded on the stock market, and a company that makes $100 million this year in profit, and a company but next year only makes 90 million because of the stock market, it's still $90 million of profit. They went $90 million beyond. But because the year before they went $100 million beyond, that company is considered failing because it's lost 10% of its stock value.
Insane.
Isn't that fucking crazy that that's how our thing works? That if you're still profitable every year,
hold on.
If the profit's ever less than the year before, you're now failing. And they'll fire you as a CEO if you, I love lots of reasons to fire CEOs, but it's funny that it's like, well, they're a bad CEO because this year they only increased the value of the stock by 4% and we wanted somebody who could do it by 8%. It's like, wait, if value the stock, but you were still you had $10 billion of profits, but you're firing them because you wanted $12 billion of profits to make this thing work?
Right. What are we even, like, what are we even, when you really... Do you hear the barking, or is
I do.
What the hell? Thought I was supposed to be noise canceling.
I know, that voice
am I not
isolation.
Noise canceling? I guess I'm not noise canceling right now. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But when we really dig into what all of the numbers look like, and I think also like I wish we would have learned more about this when we were learning about just like politics in school, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like, this is the stuff that I wish we would have learned. Like, did we need to spend as much time on all of the other bullshit that we learned in history? No, but I would have actually liked to know all of this, and this would have greatly impacted. Like, one of the other things that we were talking about this morning, and I want to make sure we get to like other stuff too, but one of the other things we were talking about this morning was how federal funding, how we were just talking about federal funding in general. We were talking about education. And my dad said something about like, well, the funding for schools should come from the taxes, like around that school's area. And I was like, right, but you understand. And I was like shocked that I'm like, I have to explain this to a person who's 60 years old. I'm like, but you understand that if that means that you are putting people in low income areas into a situation where their school has no funding. Like especially if it's a low income area. Which we also know
that and poverty are like the combination for if you want crime to go up in an area, if you want
that's exactly what I said.
Crime, it's literally, you are creating the problem you're complaining about.
Yes, increase in violent crime. You also are decreasing an educated workforce. Like you are perpetuating the problem that you are complaining about, as you said. So I was like, so you understand why it's important that we keep things like the Department of Education so that we continue to be able to like oversee budgets of funding education on a federal level and whatever. Like these things, this is important. Like it is not. I feel like we're constantly gaslit into thinking it's like, you guys live in a fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Like, why should I pay for someone else's? Because it is for the greater good. And if you want to like hoard
it literally pays you back. Like
it pays you back. You want to hoard your wealth, have fun living in a dystopian fucking country, which is where we're headed.
And the matter is like, you don't understand until it happens to you. It's sort of like, go back the 25 years it would take for Alyssa to be born. So go back 25 years.
Charitable.
Go back 25. You're welcome. 25 years, and I'm born. Okay. And right now, the way everything ends up happening, I go to a school and you're pretty content with the education I got and the places I got to live and stuff. And you feel like I, as your child, deserved those opportunities and everything. Now go back to when I'm born. You find out at the same time you have cancer. And getting treatment for that cancer and all of that stuff ends up draining your savings. You can't afford the home anymore. You end up having to move the family to a poorer area. And now as a result, I get a worse education. I get less opportunities. But you thought I deserved the opportunities I got before. So do I not deserve those opportunities because you had cancer? Because that's the position people are in. Because something that they can't control. And it's not like when you are poor and you're born into a poor family, you have those opportunities to get out of the poor. If you would just go and work hard, they're mostly working harder than anybody who ever says that phrase.
I literally
to survive.
Yes. I literally just had this conversation with a woman 2 nights ago. She and her family they immigrated here from Jamaica and live in like a lower income neighborhood. And he's applying to high schools, which is what you have to do it's a city school. So like he's applying to high schools. And the reason he has to apply to high schools is because the public schools in his area are extremely dangerous and the education is not great. And he got into a scholarship program in middle school for kids who are like showing promise and also that are people of color. So he got this scholarship, but he had to work his fucking ass off to get it. He got the scholarship. It put him in a tutoring program so he could get even more education. So this kid is working so hard. And he applied to schools, and the schools that he applied to, and these are like New York City private schools, like that really, the New York City public schools are really like hit or miss, but overall not great unless you live in a really great neighborhood. So for like Fordham Prep, it is $60,000 a fucking year. For Iona Prep, it is, I think she said $30,000 a year. And then he did get a scholarship to one school that it's a boarding school in like Pennsylvania. That school will cost them $10,000 a year. And she's like, even the $10,000 a year is a stretch for me. And I was like, this is a case and point. This is a kid who is working his fucking ass off. He is working his ass off. His
and
parents
even has
both
a little
work.
bit more privilege than the other people around, and still.
He got a scholarship and still.
Yeah. Well, and has the resources for $10,000 a year. Like most of these, even if these, most of the kids, even if they could get in, get accepted, wouldn't have those resources even.
That's the problem she's facing, where she's like, even the $10,000 is like, we're going to have to really figure that out. So like, this is when people talk about like, when they talk about the community of people who are not making enough money to make ends meet and who are also being brought up in a situation where like poverty surrounds them, or just like the advantages are not there. I'm like, you like you said, you don't understand unless you have experienced it, or you are hearing these stories and understand like with empathy that this is what people are experiencing. This is what it is. Like, this is what it's like in this country. And it is not the pull yourself up by the bootstraps,
which is physically impossible, by the way.
Right. American dream bullshit that it was 50 years ago. More than that now. Like,
I need to actually get a Republican. I need to do a video one day where I meet a Republican somewhere and I bring bootstraps. I give them the bootstraps. I go, okay, please put these on. Yeah. And then lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Right. I would like to see how that physically works. Yeah. Because you guys are using just like the quote, they love to say a few bad apples. It's like, finish the fucking quote.
Finish the phrase. Finish the phrase, I dare you.
Lift yourself up by your bootstraps. How does that work? Explain to me how one would lift themselves. That's the metaphor. And they're going, oh, no, it's just a metaphor. Right. It's a metaphor for something that doesn't actually work. It's impossible. Right. And by the way, even in that world, even in the world where you pick something less dumb than bootstraps, how'd you get bootstraps? Literally, you don't even understand that privilege comes down to some people just are born with bootstraps and some people get none. Yeah. Some people, as the closer you get to a bootstrap, the more people come to push you away, or the cops come and are like, did you steal those bootstraps? Like, you guys are fucking idiots. All right, let's take another ad break and then we'll probably speed through some more. We've peppered in some news over this. Yeah. You know, we've talked a little bit. There's not
a ton, honestly.
It's just the Epstein stuff still.
Last
people. It's, Epstein.
Yeah. Also, Trump in Scotland. Hilarious.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about that the other day, didn't we?
No, we did not, because there's been some really funny signage. Oh, okay. We talked about maybe the newspaper that had his big, ugly fucking face.
I guess there's one more thing to update on the Epstein thing, the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. We'll maybe start there. Yeah. And waiting to find out if MAGA is going to fall for something that is clearly a grift. We'll be right back.
Oh, boy.
Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove they were supporting this podcast right from the beginning? Well, you can. Head over to linemerch.com. That's linemerch.com and pick up some Founders merch for The Line as a podcast that will only be available for a short time and features the rough draft drawn logo that soon will be updated to look less like it was drawn by a 3-year-old. That's linemerch.com.
Imagine this, if you will. You are a pedophile, okay? Okay, don't imagine that. But imagine this, if you will. You're a Republican, and Obama is president. And Obama is accused of eating babies, okay? And there's a person out there, and Obama has had accusations of sort of baby eating similar types of crimes in the past. And other crimes. And in the past, he was represented by a lawyer. And that lawyer, it will be named dong douchebag. Okay. So dong douchebag. Let's say Don douchebag, because I meant dong like penis, but now I feel like it sounds a little racist. Don douchebag is Obama's lawyer who's been getting him out of jams for years. And some of them are even like baby eating jams. All right. So now there's some there's evidence out there that there's a list of baby eaters, but Obama seems to be blocking the release of the baby eating list. Okay. He's like, oh, let me be clear. You will not try that list from my cold dead hands. Anyway, then one day he suddenly seems like he's shifting tone. He's like, look, out there is this lady. Her name, who's somebody who would procure dead babies? Laura Ingraham. Her name is Laura Ingraham. She's out there. She used to procure. This is just a random Laura Ingraham, people. If that resembles anyone's name, it's purely a coincidence. Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingram's out there and she's eating babies. She's procuring babies, is what you've heard. And she would know who's on this list. So don't you worry. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to send my personal attorney, who's been getting me out of these jams in the past, to go and interview and find out if there's anything incriminating there. We'll get to the bottom of that and you'll find out whether or not I'm actually on that list. Would any Republican not go like, wait, you're sending your guy? When you have the option to appoint a special counsel, Pam Bondi, you could do a nonpartisan person, somebody that both sides will trust to tell the truth no matter where the truth goes. You're going to hire your guy who's been getting you out of baby eating jams to go and interview Laura Ingraham. You're sending Don Douchebag to interview Laura Ingraham about who's eating. And if you're on the list, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Because Republicans seem like they wouldn't fall for that. And I think even Democrats would be like, no, special counsel, Obama, I know we'll do anything to pretend you're not a war criminal, but we really love you. But that's a special counsel situation. And yet, why is this the first problem? When Donald Trump orders Pam Bondi, who is supposed to be, the attorney general is supposed to be separate from, there shouldn't be any ordering, to go interview Ghislaine Maxwell. And she sends her deputy attorney general, Todd Blanche, who is Trump's, both of them, by the way, attorney general and Todd Blanche, they are both previous lawyers, represented Trump previously, to go ask Ghislaine Maxwell if there's anything. How would you now trust the list that would come out of Ghislaine Maxwell's mouth? Also knowing that she is vying for a pardon. And let's be real, Trump is willing to negotiate that. Yes, when I'm leaving office, if you basically clear my name from being on that list, one of my last duties, me who's like on death's door, why the fuck would I give a care, would be to pardon you. Like, let's are we pretending that that's not on the table? How are Republicans at this point, when he has tried so hard to stop the list from coming out, not saying, no, you can't be trusted now. It now has to be an independent counsel. We absolutely need to hear from somebody that isn't on your side and already defending you against the crimes you've been doing in the past. But fucking you guys want Don Douchebag and Laura Ingraham.
When I saw that and put two and two together, I literally was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you actually fucking kidding me?
Why not just send Donald to interview him? And
literally,
talk to
let
her
him just do it.
You know, we talked for hours and she confirmed I am not on that list. She said, no, sir, you're not on the list anywhere.
What the, truly, okay, so here's what I think is probably happening is I think that they're just relying on the ignorance of their MAGA base to not flag it. I think that they're just they're not going to realize whatever. That's probably what they're relying on.
Interview. That's probably on the up and up.
Right. And it's one of those moments where I'm like, how is there no one to be like, you can't do that? How is there not what happened to checks and balances? I learned that in middle school. I learned that we had that.
Yeah, but you learn crazy stuff in middle school. Easter Bunny, right?
Right. Right.
Somebody, after they revealed the truth about Santa, they were supposed to reveal the truth about checks and balances.
Right.
Have you seen the new Texas gerrymandered map? How crazy it looks.
No.
They released their new drawn districts. One of the districts is this like thin sliver that basically crosses the entire state. And that's one of the districts. The way they are just, I don't know how these people haven't become meals yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, how is no one, I'm not endorsing cannibalism. I'm just surprised at the lack of it.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised, especially you go to HEB, they have a fucking aisle of the best sauces you've ever put on meat. And that's a Texas fucking place. The best sauces that I feel like would make any meat delicious. Okay. And yet these guys have somehow gone out there and been like, no, we are definitely considering the political affiliation and races of people and drawing our lines to make sure that those people who aren't white Republicans, they're not going to get votes as much as possible. We're keeping them off of getting votes. That's what they're doing. Right. And then it's like, yeah, that's fine. What are you going to do? Buy barbecue sauce? You're not going to buy barbecue sauce. Fuck you. I don't know why I think the Texas, congressional district drawing people are from New York, I guess. You're going to come fucking, you're going to come here. You're going to hey, howdy, cowboy. Guess where I'm from? You're not going to do shit.
Wait, I'm looking at this map. Hold on.
You found it, the new district map?
Oh, wait, okay, hold on. This is not the right one. This is an old map. And I was very confused. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Hold on, I'm finding the new one.
You'll get there. By the way, Lauren Boebert's son has been charged with misdemeanor child abuse while she's looking for that. And I would just like to point out that one of the greatest indicators of a child who will be, this does not mean all, it's kind of like one of those square rectangle situations. Most abusive parents had abusive parents. But that doesn't mean most victims of abusive parents become abusive parents, especially when it comes to physical abuse. In fact, I believe that's not the case. However, a physically abusive parent usually is the child of physically abusive parents. And Lauren Boebert's son, the one who the way I don't respect her, and look, I know loyalty stuff is weird. I've got weird feelings about it because I grew up with mandatory loyalty. But the way when that shit comes up, she will on the national news throw him under the bus instead of being like, this is like a family matter. This sucks. I know you guys want answers and whatever, but no, this is, if I lose my seat over saying I'm not going to put my son through y'all's shit, I would at least respect that. She'll get up and she'll be like, Tyler has had a lot of we've been giving him a lot of chances and he has had a lot of chances to turn things around, but he will just straight up throw him under, like we don't know you're the problem, by the way. Like we don't know it's your traditional values that have created this fucking little sociopath. Oh man.
Sociopath. Well, so one of the things that I think is interesting is, and we've had this conversation before. Actually, we had this conversation last episode, which, by the way, one of the comments that we got on Patreon was, that was a really long conversation about incest. Hilarious. I was like, and it was, but we had a lot to discuss.
I think it could have been long. First of all, it was mostly not about incest. The conversation was about a broader topic, and incest was used as a metaphor, to be clear.
Right. But I think, so when we're thinking about, we talked about this even with like pedophilia and people who are priests, and it's like a chicken and the egg situation. Did they become priests because they were worried about what they were inclined to and thought that might help? Or in becoming priests and being so chaste and taking this this vow, has it made the like temptation out of control and now they have this like whatever? I think a big piece of this is that to be able to do something like that to anyone, child, adult, whatever, to like do something that really violates, that is, first of all, is violent and violates the consent of another human being, you have to have zero empathy for that person. Well, you have to have a lot of things, but one of them is zero empathy. And one thing that the right, especially the far right, loves to have is zero empathy. And so like I'm feeling like we can't draw a straight line, but there's gotta be some sort of correlation that has to do with like, if you don't give a fuck about, if your community in your head is literally your household, which is what Republican people do, versus having your community be your neighborhood,
if it even reaches
or
the
whatever.
whole household, if it's not like the wife, if she's still blowing me, and the kids I like, you know,
literally.
So in Lauren's case, she's already written off Tyler. Her husband got arrested in 2024 for beating on this guy.
Wow.
Right. And then now Tyler for criminal negligence, which means that, even he's not caring about his household. That's all we know. The rest of the details aren't public, but yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, there's like a real, the lack of empathy really kind of knows no bounds, and it will continue to be a really big problem.
When I saw this headline, here was my shocked face. Don't worry if you're not listening. It looks like I'm not at all shocked face.
Right.
It's the same face.
Resting.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Any other news you want to quick hit before we wrap it? And the bonus show today, we are talking about Balloon Boy.
Oh.
The documentary.
Yes.
It all got jammed up.
So really, really quickly, somebody had asked about the Mehdi Hassan video with the Jubilee video versus 20 far-right conservatives.
Let's talk about that in the bonus show on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I might want to watch it again before that. I know I have too many thoughts to do that. And it's not, the highlights are Jubilee is still garbage. They're not going anywhere, but that video had a lot of stuff in it. So we'll maybe like briefly talk about it on Thursday and then do like a more in-depth discussion about it for patrons.
Okay. I didn't even finish watching it because I got a portion of the way through and I was like, this is not, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. This is like not what I
watched on 2.5
dark.
speed.
Yeah, it was dark. A lot of the time with stuff like that, I try to find like another content creator that I trust enough that where like they've watched it, because I don't want to give Jubilee the view. And I'll like watch their
if they're too big now, it doesn't matter anymore.
But yeah, like it really doesn't matter anymore. But I'm starting to see conversations around like we need to start having YouTube have a real conversation about like in terms of even content guidelines, like how is this permissible? Like I think there's an area to discuss it.
Generally, when it comes to like watching and consuming things, you shouldn't. At this point, usually it's kind of like climate change. You can go and recycle, but that's not going to make a fucking difference. So you just need to, on a personal level, do what you need to do to feel better about participating in a thing that at the level of you doing it isn't actually going to affect anything unless there is an organized mass boycott of something. And so you just kind of keep track of those things that you're doing and then go like, all right, how much should I give to Human Rights Watch this year? Or how much should I give to the Secular Student Alliance? Or actually, that's what I should have started with is RFR. What should I come to Recovering from Religion to offset? What is my personal tax on the fact that like one of my playlists still has a Kanye song on it, right? And look, that's RFR has gotten some Kanye money from me, I'll tell you that much. Some of those early beats, they're real good.
I know.
So what makes me feel better, it makes me feel like on a personal level, because again, at the mass level, none of this matters, I've offset my consumption of that. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm one of those people where I think unless you have a truly organized, agreed upon boycott, not a bully boycott, it's probably bully boycotts backfire. Well done. The fucking Harry Potter game broke fucking records because we tried to do a bully boycott over it. I actually would have way rather people been like, look, it's my childhood. I'm too attached. I'm gonna, and so obviously they just played it in secret and they're like, I hope nobody ever finds out. It should have absolutely been a different thing of like, if you are going to buy this, you need to match that with a donation to this pro-trans charity. Or something like whatever you're going to do, because that 3 cents, it's not even going to be that fraction of a unit that J.K. Rowling got out of it, you need to offset by many, many times more. That one's weird. There was a trans character in the. It's like one of those things where it's like she still got to make money off of it. And I'm assuming was mad. Yeah, the lady who, I'm trying to remember, I saw it on a YouTube video. the lady who ran the Three Broomsticks bar
that's interesting.
in Hogsmeade is a trans woman and voiced by a trans woman. Also,
that's interesting.
Anyway, yeah, only organized boycotts actually work. Bully boycotts definitely don't work. And so on a personal level, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but you can on a personal level take stock and be like, all right, what can I do to at a personal level be able to sleep at night and say, yes, I continued to exist as part of the problem because it's impossible not to. But some of the best of my ability, I contributed to the hope that we will one day break that wheel. That's kind of anyway, so Jubilee sucks. And I turned them down years ago. I would probably still turn them down if they approached me again. But at this point, I've accepted that I think I turned them down when there was probably a still chance of their failure. Now they're gonna, whatever I do, their cycle is gonna run either way. And people I respect, like Sam Cedar, like Mehdi Hassan, have both gone on it. And it's kind of like, I don't know if they just didn't have the same considerations as me. I do think Mehdi has a little bit of buyer's remorse because he went on expecting to have, 20 Republicans, and there were literally like open fascists there, open Nazis there.
Yes.
Now
and
fundraising
also,
on Nazi GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, because I lost my job for my political views. My political view that I believe some people will probably need to get genocided so we can have a Catholic autocracy. Like fucking, that's what you're going to summarize as just political views, you fucking piece of shit. What isn't a political view at that point?
Right. I know.
Oh.
I know. I hear ya.
The HEB has such good sauces. Okay?
Oh my God. Wait,
this is
also,
my new meme with you. This is my new, everyone who heard this episode will know exactly what it means. Only us. This is our inside sauces. Thing. HEB has so many great sauces. And the fact that people have not figured that out. Oh my God, the spice. I haven't had a sauce in a while, but I'm going to introduce my girlfriend to some of the sauces I liked.
Something tangy,
she loves their
perhaps?
yum yum sauce. They have good Asian sauces. They've got a sushi counter staffed by like Japanese chefs in several HEBs. And they're out there and so they've got all the like fish sauces and all that stuff. If that's what you're into, HEB's got a lot of sauces that would go really well with meats, with veggies, with billionaires. With like they would just go. So good, fascist. They were just so good. They'd go so good on so much
because they're tasty.
Hypothetically,
they're reasonably priced. There's variety.
Yeah. The sauces. HEB has such good sauces. Oh
and I've always
my
said
goodness!
That.
All right, couple quick other news things. You got any you want to for sure, before we kick it?
Well, we touched briefly on how Trump is in Scotland right now and the warm welcome that he received. Hilarious. Yeah. Some of the funniest signs I've ever seen. And honestly, some of my favorite ones are the ones that are just like, Trump is a cunt. Because they use that word so much there that like...
Trump is a cunt.
Yeah, like it's just, I'm loving it. And I think it also is a really beautiful moment for us to appreciate how fucking stupid MAGA sounds when they're like, the rest of the world they finally respect us. We were not respected before, but we're respected now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm finding myself enjoying the return to simple insults. Just as you were saying that, I'm just sitting there delighted at the Trump is a cunt thing. And then like Stephen Colbert on the Monday back after Donald Trump did his thing, read his quote about like delighting that he's over it. He's like, oh yeah, well, I have prepared an extremely elegant response, so much so that we've even got a new like graphic and everything up for it. So here we go. I'm going to tell you exactly what's wrong with you. And then he turns to the camera and they've got the thing up and he goes, go fuck yourself. And then just turns back.
Stunning.
Loved it. Or
it's so
Jon
good.
Stewart surrounding a similar thing had like a church choir and he did like a church preacher bit, but where the whole song ends up just being like, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, woo, go fuck yourself. It was just the best.
I love it.
I loved it.
I'm enjoying simple insults too. I remember we had an episode like a couple of episodes back where I was saying we need to start bringing this back. And I think that if I ever have the displeasure of having Trump in my midst, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking something up real quick because I need to know a certain detail.
Okay.
You saw that Hulk Hogan died, right?
Yeah, I did. And fuck him. You know what's interesting about that? I've never really thought that much about Hulk Hogan. Yeah. So I didn't realize how shitty he was until he died. And it's like always funny.
Terribly bad.
Yeah, it's funny to think about the people who like sometimes when people die, like you learn so much and you're like, wow, they were really wonderful and blah, blah, blah. Like I think some people may have had that experience with like Robin Williams or whatever, where you're like, he was just an actor to me.
Yeah, or and then other people are like, oh man, Ozzy died. Here are reasons why that kind of bums me out. And then you find out like,
and then you find out. Right. So like for Hulk Hogan, I was just kind of like, I didn't really think anything about it. I was like, oh, okay.
Made sad, Ozzy look good.
It made truly the timing couldn't be better because holy fuck, he sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say this. First of all, he was actually promoting a beer just a few months ago at a grocery store in the old town I used to live in, like near where I used to live. Like this tiny grocery store. I'm talking like it's not there's like 2 or 3 others in the whole state. That's like the extent to it being a chain. Like truly like the equivalent of, you know how in some places there might be an Albertsons and it goes out of business and some like just nothing grocery store takes its spot and it'll just put like a name up top. It's just like Bobby's Grocery. And it always is like, how is this not a front for crime? And usually it's because it's a front for crime. It's kind of one of those grocery stores, except for it's like, there are gas stations here that are larger than that grocery store. And he was there promoting a beer a few months back. Anyway, that was the last time I thought about him until it was announced that he died this last week. And I just want to read this little bit of clarification because I did check this out. Hulk Hogan did not appear to suffer significantly in the immediate moments before his death. And I just want to say, as that's something we all think about and worry about, bummer. That's too bad.
Bummer.
Anyway.
Bummer is crazy. That's really funny.
It's kind of like, oh no.
Crazy.
There's only a few. I don't feel that way about that many people. But when I heard Roger Ailes kind of just died in his sleep, it really bugged me.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who deserve a little bit of some spice at the end, and
right.
It's unfortunate.
I'd like, as you leave this world, to go like,
fuck. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I messed up.
If you are a piece of shit person and you leave this earth in the way that is equivalent to like Sleeping Beauty falling asleep, pissed about it. Should be a little more climactic than that.
Roger Ailes was a hemophiliac, which is hilarious. I don't think you remember what hemophiliac is.
I don't, because hemophiliac sounds like it's blood related.
Okay, but it's not sexual for the record.
Okay.
Hemophilia,
wait.
It's like if you get a cut, your blood doesn't clot. And so it just
that's what I thought.
And runs.
That's what I thought. Okay, my reaction, I still stand by. I can't do blood. I can't do blood. It really freaks me out when I'm literally talking about this and my hands are getting like, I can't make a fist anymore.
Yeah, I see.
They're getting weak.
So he did have a little suffering, I guess, in his last conscious moments because he fell and he hit his head. But he was then put in a medically induced coma for several days before he finally died. And, bummer.
That's too comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. You what's happening now, your fault. Like you are the reason why Donald Trump survived impeachment. You are I'd have been okay if you had been like, oh, I think I'm about to die. Oh, ow, 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 ow,
owie.
Something really undignified.
Owie, owie, owie. Yeah, something.
I'm not sad he's dead, and I wouldn't be sad if it sucked. Anyway, lots of genocide still going on. Little just added thing there at the end to brighten up your day.
I was debating if we wanted to like really talk about it because there's not that much to say beyond the starvation situation has gotten infinitely worse. And please
doctors are having formula taken from them, baby formula. A doctor revealed this week in an interview that if you try to yourself bring in baby formula,
Yeah.
the IDF confiscates it from you before letting you back in to administer aid. So I don't know what their justification is going to be. They're like, well, the thing you have to understand is that they are going and they are artificially breastfeeding Hamas instead of these babies. What is going to be your justification?
What are we talking about?
That means you are trying to, that is a targeted attempt to not just starve people. That's a targeted attempt at starving babies.
Yeah, 100%. It is not, it's so indefensible now. It really, I can't, I saw a cartoon, I wish I could remember where it was from, but it was like two starving kids and one of them saying to the other one, apparently this is really complicated. And that's how it feels. It's like, what are we talking about? So anyway, if you're feeling a little hopeless on what you can do, you can look for fundraising campaigns that are on the ground. There is a link tree that is linktr-ee/funds for Gaza. You can check that out. There's also going to be a protest in New York City on Monday. You can boycott businesses that are complicit with what's going on, but that's also understandably really hard to do because it feels like it's fucking everyone. So to the best of your ability, do what you can. And I mean, I wish that it mattered to reach out to Congress or newsrooms or whatever. It doesn't feel like it does, but it is important that we continue to not let this fall by the wayside.
We're not forgetting and ignoring.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you're done with all of those things, find a bag and scream into it,
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because it does feel like the recycling for the environment vibes, but
you could fill a black contractor bag with those ties on it with pillows, and then you partially close it, tie the individual string so it stays at that, and then you pull it over your head and you just scream into it. And the good news with that is that sounds like it's an asphyxiation risk, so you might not have to deal with anything else. No, that's too dark. Take it back, pull back.
Oh my God.
Hey, everybody, don't do that. But go look, if I could just say one thing. Now, look, this only applies to people who are here in Texas with me. So this doesn't apply to everybody across the board. But I just got to say, H-E-B has some incredible sauces.
I've heard.
Test it out on different meats.
I've heard about that. I've heard about that. What's a good one?
I'm trying to remember what it is. I think it's a raspberry spicy barbecue.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think
that.
I'm right. Yeah.
Sounds like it would be great on meat.
Yeah. H-E-B's got great sauces. And even the H-E-B brands of their sauces, for my girlfriend, I just got their whip, which is their Miracle Whip, the H-E-B version of a Miracle Whip. And she's like, oh my God.
Really?
We actually tried, we were going around, I didn't get a try. They often have samples and I'll go and take a sample too. And she's always just like, thank you. Because she'll then get 2 samples. And we tried a sample of just a simple sandwich they had, but it was with H-E-B meat, H-E-B cheese, and H-E-B honey mustard and H-E-B whip on it. And she was like, oh man, this is really good. To the point that we literally went back and was like, all right, where are all 5 things that made the sandwich? And we bought all 5, the whip, the honey mustard, the cheese, the ham, and the same loaf of bread.
Sampling works.
That sample thing worked.
Fucking works.
They also have great ice creams, but I don't know how you would turn a billionaire into a dessert. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.